Welcome back to Milton Mo Junction. This video is a little bit different than normal because basically I haven't really done anything to the layout as such. No alterations on what you last saw, but that's because I've been abroad for about a month now. I've just got back and I thought I'd put a video up just to show that I'm still around, and I thought I'd follow the trend of a few people just showing their railway room again. I think I did this early on in the series, but people that haven't been with me all the time or haven't sort of gone back to older videos, I thought I'd just show them the railway room and a few pointers on it. We're looking down the hatch or to the landing. That door, you can just about see the one that's closed, is the airing cupboard. In there I've got a switch which controls all the electrics up into the loft, apart from the lighting, which is completely separate. But I can power off the whole loft with a switch in there, and when I close up I always turn it off, and to remind me that I need to turn it off, I don't know if you can see, there's a little label on the steps that I hook on which says power on. As I go down for the final time, I unhook that and I hook it over the switch which controls the power, so that I know it's off then, and turn the power off, as I say. That's one little thing. These are all aimed at me because I'm so forgetful that I thought I'd have to do a few things so that I won't make mistakes. Anyway, as you come up the loft, into the loft from the ladder, you can see the end of it. It just the whole ladder folds on top of itself, so it takes up no more room than the actual hatch size, and piles up on top of the hatch when you're not actually in here. And it's already got insulation on the hatch. As you can see, it's probably 3 or 4 inches deep, and that's sort of automatic. The other point is that I know if I don't have some sort of system, I will be falling down that hatch. So when I come up, I just simply close the lid over the top of the hatch, and that's safe to walk on, can't step back. The 2 light switches there both control the lights. The one on the right controls the centre lights, and the one on the left controls the lights either side. They're all LED fluorescent tubes, because when I'm up here they're on all the time anyway, so I thought that would save electricity, and it also stops a bit of heat generation as well from the standard tubes. I very rarely have both sets on because there's enough light with just the centre sets. The left hand side just controls the ones above the track, and I only need those on if it's particularly fiddly work I'm doing and want a bit of extra light, really. So that's that. There is a window, and so I don't leave it open and let the rain in. As soon as I open it, I turn that over so I see that as I go down. The last thing I see when I go down, in fact, so I know the window's open. So when I open the window there to let a bit of cool air in, which you start to do now at this time of year, I know that I haven't left it open, because the last thing you want is to go down and forget about it overnight and it tips down with rain. I know the window's pretty good at not letting rain in even when it's open a little bit, but I don't particularly want to take that chance, so that's just a little reminder for me. And everything else is pretty much the same, apart from I've done a bit of alteration. As you can see, I've now decided completely that I don't need that area there. I can't get at it very easily from the track, and wouldn't be having much on, as I've mentioned in the earlier videos. So I think it would probably best if that came out, so I took it out yesterday, and it makes the place a little bit more roomy, and I can get at the track completely now all the way around, so there's no ducking and diving underneath tracks needed anymore. The other thing I've done is, while I've been away, obviously I haven't been up here, and that's when I do most of my thinking of designing what I want, etc. And I've had a bit of a change of thought. I've realised that what I've done is I've tried to I'm still in the sort of mindset of the 00 gauge, which had a big station, lots of trains, passenger trains, etc., going in and out. And I think I was still, although as I said I was only going to have a small station, it was still going to have 3 tracks, and it still was in that mindset of needing to have everything similar to what I had before. But I've thought about it, and after watching a couple of YouTubes and reading some articles, etc., on O gauge layouts, I think that what I'm going to do is not have a station, I was going to say at all, but I think I'm going to have a small 1 platform station, and I'm changing the track a little bit on this side, not a lot, but just a bit to allow me to do what I want to do. I'm now going to have the diesel depot on this side, the first 4 tracks away from here being number 1, 2, 3 and 4. They are going to go into the new diesel depot, which will be at this end. I'm doing away with the outer 2 tracks as far as this corner is concerned, of being joined up. What I intend to do is put a back seam about here, and these will, this one obviously is going into the diesel depot, so we'll terminate here. It'll be straight obviously, and the diesel depots, I'm going to be one of those new halogen ones that I can make up, so that'll be here. And the outer one excuse me, what I'm going to do is have a single platform at the back and a station there, and as you can see at that end, it's going to have a parcel depot at that end, where the this track here that's been broken at the moment, separated rather, that will have a parcel depot, again half relief against the back seam, which is going to be changed now obviously. So that'll be a parcel depot, and the track will probably stop somewhere under the television. And then the second added point up there, which brings this second line down, this one here, that will come to this point here, and that will be a platform at the back, and again a half relief station building. So just a single platform, more like a halt than a station as such. And that will be it for this side. I'll show more when I've changed all the track, but just giving you a flavour of what I'm thinking of doing. And the main reason is because the coaches are so big that they make it difficult to store, and you have to be really careful about the corners etc. with coaches, whereas the wagons are a lot cheaper and easier to store etc. and join up to the coaches. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really 100% decided whether to finish completely this outer loop. This may join up to the new station one here now to make it a little bit tighter, but it will be a loop, or just do a completely U-shaped layout end to end. But the other thing is, I will use this now as a storage. Where are we? There. This can either be storage, or this one will definitely be storage and end behind the back seat, and this one can be storage and end behind the back seat, or I can just loop it round. But I'm still deliberating. It's not so much, I mean, I'm quite happy to end it and not have a loop now, but whether it will be easier to get trains round to the other side by having a loop, I haven't made up my mind. I don't want to sort of make a big decision before I've tried a few other things. So this will all come round here as it was before. This will now be sidings and depots, etc. Probably a coal yard, but I've got to sort out the track work here. I may well change a lot of this, so I'll put another video up when I have done that. What else? That's about it really for what I've actually done up here. So I'll put this up or do a little bit more and add a bit on the end. I haven't decided that either, so for the meantime I'll just leave it. So speak to you later. Welcome back. I had intended to publish the video at the stage it got to, but unfortunately my internet is down, as is my telephone line, so I can't put anything up, and it's been down for a couple of days. So being a bank holiday weekend, I've absolutely no idea when I'm going to get it back, so I thought, well, I might as well do a bit more work up in the loft and video what I've done, so, and add it on to the end of the video. Makes it a bit longer, but you'll see a little bit more of what I was talking about last time. So the last two tracks, they are going to be fed from the outer line, if you remember what it was before. The shorter one is the the shorter one is the parcel office up against the back scene, and the longer one, which will finish up against this end or side back scene, is the passenger station. It's just about long enough to have two carriages, or perhaps later a two-car DMU would be even better, or a single-car DMU. But that's pretty much it for that one. I have a platform there and probably a half scene station, a half profile station, as I shall have a half profile parcel office at that end as well. So they'll both be dead ends. As you see here, I couldn't actually join it up even if I wanted to. That was a possible option I mentioned earlier, but in fact the curve was too sharp to join it up to that, so I decided to stick to my original idea and not have a circular layout anymore. It's going to be a horseshoe shaped layout. And the two tracks that now finish here, they are going to be storage sidings, so they won't be ballasted or sceneried at all, so they'll be hidden. As I mentioned earlier again, the back scene will pretty much come along here where I'm sort of aiming, and the three tracks there will be cut off at the back scene. Pretty much the furthest one is cut off on the line I think the back scene is going to run on. The other two I've left for the time being because I don't want any mistakes and cut them and find. I decided to do something different with the back scene, but they're pretty much the right level. These two are extended a bit because I may go through the back scene to have a little bit more storage, because it will be hidden as such, because it will go in through the Heligen new depot, which is 2 foot long by 1 foot wide, but you can have an option where you do it 1 foot long and two sections, two different buildings pretty much. And they, as I mentioned earlier, they'll back up to the back scene, but I may cut a couple of holes in the back scene here, or a hole, at the end of the depot, so it just continues, and then try and put some sort of back scene at the end, just so if you're looking through the depot that's what you actually see, but that'll be much later. I've got to decide where the fuel depot is going to go, and I want some oil tank storage, some oil tanks for oil storage up there to feed the fueling points, and that's where that class 24 is, with the 2 oil tankers, so they can go into there and transfer their oil into the tanks. The 2 nearest, well, the 2 I'm looking at down this end to the right, they'll just be more storage sidings for whatever, I haven't decided yet, but it'll be a bit of shunting interest of whether it's just engines. That will probably be the case. This new setup, of course, lets me do something different. Previously I was going to cover the 2 ends and have them non-scenery, just disappearing into the hillside so you didn't see the train. It's not quite so important now because it's not going to be a through track just going round. So what I've decided to do is I'll probably take that shelf down and put it up the other end behind me, which isn't going to be sceneried, and then I might well scenery this curve round here, because that will give me an opportunity to do some countryside, which there wasn't going to be any room for, to be honest, but I do like doing countryside, and that will give me an opportunity. If I remove the shelf, that will all be open, it'll just be countryside with pretty much a single track going through it. It will be doubled just at that point, but it goes to the point and then single, and make it a little bit more interesting. This obviously I haven't touched at all yet, and I've got to sort of sit and work out how trains are coming and go out, so that's the next job really. What I have done, you may have noticed on this side, sorry to keep jumping around, but I've had to buy some Pico flexi track, as I didn't have enough lens, and well, in fact there's none in the country at the moment as far as I can see, so I thought I'd use the Pico straights. It's obviously, it's noticeable at the moment because it's a different colour, but once it's been ballasted and sprayed, etc., it won't, I don't think you'll notice. So that's quite good. Got the extra track I wanted, so I'll leave it there. Any questions please ask, or any comments please leave them, and if you feel you wish to, please subscribe. So bye for now, and many thanks. Hi again, this is just a little add-on at the end. I'd really finished the video, but having watched it, I realised that at the beginning I said that I haven't really done much work on the layout because I haven't been here, I've been abroad, which obviously is perfectly true, but I've done a bit more than I had intended, I guess, before the video went out, mainly due to the internet being down, which incidentally is just this minute come back, so I can publish this pretty quickly. Anyway, as I said, I was watching the video and I said I hadn't done much, but as I say, looking back, it's done quite a bit. I've done quite a bit, especially as I've changed the type of layout from a continuous to a 2 dead ends. That's quite a major change, I guess. And I've moved the depot from one side to the other, the diesel depot, and I've got rid of a bigger station and put a small station and parcel depot in. And something I didn't mention, I'm changing era slightly. I was doing mid to early 60s, but I'm now doing late 60s. Not that I'm sort of anarchy about what's there, what I run, but I do like to have some sort of theme of the period. It's just a personal preference. I just like to sort of suggest the year, like my OO gauge was in the 80s, although I went outside that because I like the particular diesel outside it. But same for this. I mean, really, it's going to be late 60s, so I can have all the green diesels I've already got. I can also add to that blue diesels, so I can now have a mixture of blue and green, a little bit more colourful, and of course it gives me more choice of diesels, a little bit more choice anyway. And especially when you're buying, I guess, you know, you've got a little bit more choice if you're after a particular class of diesel that comes in both colours. Then obviously it doubles your choice of the right one coming along. But I thought I'd just add that on the end. So as I say, my internet's now up, and I'll put this up for publishing pretty quickly. So thanks very much again. Bye for now.